he didn't get hit with a punch. He didn't turn his back like he wanted to quit. It's just like when you get a thumb in the eye, it's
Well,
a foul.
he did turn his eye. He did turn his
Yeah,
back. He
yeah,
ran
but
to
he
the
didn't turn
corner.
his back like he was going to quit. Like you've seen
Yeah.
some guys turning. He obviously mentioned that he had something in his eye, and it wasn't from a punch. It wasn't. It was time in between the shots. I think that by the time he wanted that, or he took a knee. But I think in the rules it states that you're allowed to do that. If you go back and you read some of the rules, I know a lot of people are complaining about it, but I think it was upheld in New York that it was okay for him to do that. I think part of the rules state that it was okay. As a coach on the other side, I would have.
Yeah.
Of course,
Of course, right? Of
I
course.
would have thrown a fit, man.
Veteran boxing trainer Abel Sanchez didn't hold back when asked about Lamont Roach missing out on his highly anticipated rematch with Gervonta "Tank" Davis, expressing zero sympathy for what he called a self-inflicted setback.
Why was Barry in the center and not his normal coach in the center in the ring? That was
Yeah. There had been a lot of talk about Calvin Ford not if he was going to be training Tank for this camp. If he wasn't, people did ask Tank what was going on with that, and he said, "Hey, Calvin's pops, like Calvin's like my pops. He'll always be in the corner." I think, and Calvin had mentioned that he had just gotten married, and equated to like he wanted personal time, and that he was going to take a little step back to allow that personal time to have like a normal life. And that's where Barry took up the responsibilities of training Tank full time.
I can see that, but I think to me, for many, many, many years, Calvin has been the voice in Gervonta's ear. So whether he was training him or not, I think that the guy that he's most familiar with you, one camp doesn't make you familiar with a fighter. The guy that's most familiar with you should have been the guy, in my opinion anyway, should have been the guy in the front directing traffic. 8 weeks or 9 weeks, whatever it was in camp, is not going to change the fact of this guy's known Gervonta for his whole life and knows what he does and can do and can motivate him in a way that maybe somebody else can't.
According to Sanchez, Roach's recent missteps outside and inside the ring have cost him an opportunity that could have redefined his career trajectory, and in boxing, those chances don't come twice.
As a businessman and as somebody's got to prepare their future, I mean, I can't blame him, but it's not good for the sport. I think that Gervonta Davis is a very good fighter. Like I said, he's one of my favorites, so I would hate to see him do that. But who am I to question somebody's money earning?
The seasoned coach, known for his blunt honesty and work with elite champions like Gennady Golovkin, said the sport doesn't wait for anyone and that Roach's situation is a hard but necessary lesson. "This is the hurt business," Sanchez said. "You don't stay ready, you get left behind."
An amazing fight, a masterclass by Crawford. He shocked me and I'm highly impressed, and his skill level was just very superior, but Earl had the heart of a lion. All respect to him. He showed what it means to be a warrior and went out on his shield. But I think it probably puts Crawford as the number one pound for pound. So just an amazing performance by him.
Gervonta Davis isn't going to wait around for Lamont Roach to figure things out. The controversy started when reports surfaced that Roach, who earned respect after giving Davis a surprisingly competitive fight earlier this year, failed to meet certain contractual obligations and conditioning benchmarks leading up to the rematch talks.
Terrence Crawford had the ability to fight backwards and stay composed, good defense, hands was always up, countering everything that Canelo was throwing at him. He was just a little more active fight. Canelo did hit him to the body, but it was pretty much all Terrence Crawford.
I think some of what we saw from Canelo is what he's has to resort to now to fight. Maybe he's dealt with some injuries to where he's not as mobile. It's just the pattern that he's put himself in for the last, 6 to 8 fights. That same pattern is why Bivol was able to get him.
He did not allow Canelo to get inside, man. As soon as Canelo would get into that certain range, you would jab him. We didn't see any like lateral moves where he would throw, push off to the side as we used to see Canelo Alvarez.
Canelo was almost smothering his shot because he couldn't stay at range with him. And Terrence Crawford runs off counter combinations. It would be a wider margin if they fought again.
Insiders suggest the negotiations collapsed after Roach's camp failed to finalize terms, with Team Davis quickly shifting focus to other opponents, sparking outrage among fans who were eager to see if Roach could adjust and possibly shock the world the second time around.
If Tank get to pick his opponent, he would do it. But Tank would never come from 35 to 54.
Y'all got into it on social media around that time. Y'all was doing the back and forth shit. Is that just you being competitive, like when that happens, or is it like?
I just really don't like that dude.
Why though?
Cause I just don't like him. Like I really don't like him. I don't like.
Just not your cup of tea. That's just not your.
I don't like nothing about him. You know, I don't like nothing about him. I just felt like, you know, he just one of these little arrogant little dudes that's, you know, using what he got to shield him. You know, like he got a lot of security guards around him, and he know, you know what I mean, he in the limelight and stuff like that, but in certain situations he wouldn't be acting like.
Sanchez, however, dismissed any notion that Roach was a victim of bad timing or politics. "You can't cry about opportunities when you don't do what's needed to seize them," he explained. "If you get that close to beating someone like Gervonta, your next 6 months should be about staying in the gym, staying sharp, and proving you're serious."
Gervonta Davis speaking about you. Is that ever a possible fight?
Yeah, if he want to dare to be great, he can be like all the other fighters that's moving up 2 weight classes and, you know, daring to be great.
You would fight him,
man. Tell him to come up there.
He got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin, so tell him to come and touch it.
Wow, man. Gervonta said you got a glass.
He said I got a glass chin. Tell him to come and touch it.
At 147?
At 147. I'll make 147 for him.
Ooh, see, oh, man.
You're going to have a pre-camp.
Then what the people going to say? Oh, he's beating up on little guys.
I don't know.
Anything else tells the world you weren't built for it. Roach's first encounter with Davis was one of 2025's most talked about fights. He managed to survive Tank's early onslaught, even winning a few middle rounds before Davis's explosive power and ring IQ took over. The fight ended in a late stoppage, but it gave Roach a new wave of fans and a massive boost in credibility.
He should beat Jake Paul, shouldn't he?
No, he shouldn't.
You don't think? Sorry. So, I thought we were all unanimous here. You think that
shouldn't.
You think Jake Paul beats Gervonta Davis?
70 pounds is 70 pounds.
Gervonta Davis is very small. 5'5".
He's tiny, bro.
That's
what I'm saying.
Jake Paul,
he's a little man.
If Jake Paul's tucking up,
move on,
and absorbing punishment for walking forward, then look, there's a weight advantage.
Jake Paul, Tank Davis fight got moved to Miami.
I think Jake wins.
Jake's just so big, dude.
I think Jake wins.
This is different because it's similar. It's similar to Logan versus Mayweather, but Jake Paul boxing now obviously is way more advanced than where Logan was at that moment in time.
I mean, it's just fucking sick.
I mean, yeah, no, but dude,
Did
Jake,
you ever watch his highlights?
Jake can crack, man.
He's so sick. I love that guy, bro.
Many pundits saw him as a legitimate contender capable of pushing the pound-for-pound star again if given another chance. But Sanchez argued that one good night doesn't make a great fighter. "You can't hang your hat on one performance," he said. "Champions are made in how they respond after that."
Tank did that, so I know the got in his eye, but they should have countered it. They would have countered it, it would have went to Lamont Roach. What I didn't like about Tank, he was gassing up Lamont Roach way too much, and he was already talking about like retiring.
He seemed a little distracted, didn't he, in the fight?
That wasn't the same Gervonta Davis we're really used to seeing.
It just lets you know how corrupt like these governing bodies are, bro. If that dude took a knee, not only did he take a knee, he's like, hold on real quick. Let me get this out of my eye. How is that not a point? Like,
you know, funny thing, bro, that's why I cut my braids off. I had braids, and I had the same thing. I went through the same when I fought Andre. That was burning my eyes, so I cut that off.
Lamont had the crowd behind him, the world watching, and instead of capitalizing on that momentum, he let distractions creep in. When asked if Davis might still entertain a rematch later, Sanchez doubted it.
Bro, that's a fucking disgrace of a fight.
Yeah.
You know it. Just like the Mike Tyson, low-key was a disgrace, but we accepted it. But
yeah,
he was 60 years old. I mean, the casuals don't see the weight difference. They see Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. And if Gervonta Davis doesn't fuck up Jake Paul, they're gonna think Jake Paul is some pound for pound champion type of fighter. Gervonta Davis he's actually really small. Like when I fought him, like, he's small. So I just think it's a very unfair fight.
Tank's at the top of his game. He's looking for legacy fights, not to babysit anyone's redemption arc. If Lamont really wants it, he's got to earn it back through blood, sweat, and results. Maybe 2 or 3 impressive wins before anyone takes that seriously again.
How you feel about that fight? Is it even possible at a catch weight?
No, ain't no catch weight. You come up to 47.
You're not even entertaining the catch weight.
No, I'm not.
He's a champ though too, undefeated.
And what champ? Come on, man, tell me what belt. You know boxing. You forgot Devin Haney is undisputed. Devin Haney got all the belts. He the champ. Nobody else the champ. I'm gonna come up here where the big boys at.
All right,
I'll welcome him.
The comments sparked debate across the boxing community. Some felt Sanchez was being too harsh, arguing that fighters like Roach face immense pressure and that setbacks are part of its fighters have become too complacent with social media hype and excuses instead of maintaining the discipline that defines the sport's greats. Sanchez doubled down, emphasizing that accountability is what separates contenders from champions. This generation needs to stop expecting sympathy for not doing their job, he said.
Why was Barry in the center and not his normal coach in the center in the ring? That was
There had been a lot of talk about Calvin Ford not if he was going to be training Tank for this camp. If he wasn't, people did ask Tank what was going on with that, and he said, "Hey, Calvin's pops. Like Calvin's like my pops. He'll always be in the corner." I think, and Calvin had mentioned that he had just gotten married, and equated to like he wanted personal time. And that he was going to take a little step back to allow that personal time to have like a normal life. And that's where Barry took up the responsibilities of training Tank full time.
I can see that, but I think to me, for many, many, many years, Calvin has been the voice in Gervonta's ear. So whether he was training him or not, I think that the guy that he's most familiar with you. One camp doesn't make you familiar with a fighter. The guy that's most familiar with you should have been the guy, in my opinion anyway, should have been the guy in the front directing traffic. 8 weeks or 9 weeks, whatever it was in camp, is not going to change the fact of this guy's known Gervonta for his whole life and knows what he does and can do and can motivate him in a way that maybe somebody else can't.
You either prepare like your life depends on it, or you get exposed. That's what makes boxing pure. There are no shortcuts, no handouts, only results.
Jake says he could get a cruiserweight title in 2 years. Do you think he can?
It's possible. It's possible. Listen, man, a lot of people write Jake off, but Jake can punch with that right hand. He got a nice right hand. Gained a lot of respect for Jake because he's not a YouTuber that's just boxing just to box. He actually trains and actually want to get better and actually have got better and really putting his time, focus, and energy into boxing. So you got to respect that.
While Roach hasn't issued a detailed statement, his social media posts suggest frustration and disappointment with how things unfolded. He hinted that negotiations fell apart due to unfair demands from Team Davis, but insiders maintain that Davis's side simply lost confidence in Roach's readiness after reports of inconsistent training camps.
Is the burnt bridge with my brother unfixable?
I don't hate your brother. You guys need to fight guys your the same size. When you fought Floyd, you are massive. He did hit you with a fucking bomb, and you fucking ate it. He's gonna fight Gervonta Davis.
Who do you got?
Gervonta, I think, hits way harder than Floyd, but he's too small. Your brother's gonna be able to get inside on him, put his weight on him, tie him up.
I hear your critique on fighting guys the same size as you. Is that why you guys wouldn't let me fight Conor?
Yeah, you're fucking huge. Conor weighs 145 pounds, 155 pounds.
Yeah, but he says he can beat me.
Sanchez brushed off those claims, saying every top fighter faces unfair terms when dealing with a star like Davis. You want the payday, the spotlight, the fame, you've got to play the game, he said.
Jake Paul fought with Tyron Woodley twice. Big numbers. Jake Paul fought against Tommy Fury. Big numbers. Jake Paul, who I believe, and I have told you guys this time and time again, He's much better than people give him credit for. One, Jake Paul is not an amateur fighter, like some try to say. Jake Paul has money, so Jake Paul is getting trained by the best boxing coaches that money can.
Nobody handed Canelo, Golovkin, or Crawford anything. They fought for it. As Gervonta Davis moves forward with talks for another blockbuster bout, possibly against Ryan Garcia or Isaac Cruz, Roach finds himself at a crossroads.
Soft on each other, and then Tank just fucking throws it right at Jake.
Jake can punch with that right hand. Like, I seen him, you know what I mean, up close in person. Like, dude is big. He's not as slow as people think he is, and he can punch.
For Sanchez, that's the harsh reality of boxing. One misstep, and the sport moves on without you. There's no sympathy in boxing, only opportunity, Sanchez concluded.
There was some kind of crazy trash talk with Gervonta and Terrence Crawford recently. And one of the things that I've always kind of noticed is most of the time, one of the things that's kind of off limits is families. Like, you usually don't, you know.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. And so I wanted to kind of understand what your thoughts was about, like, some of those comments that was made. I think it was about Terrence's wife. What, like, in your mind, where, because obviously, like, you know, you've been in this sport.
I think Terrence Crawford right now in the sport of boxing is the pound for pound best fighter in the sport of boxing right now. It's good to see him in the position that he's in. I think he has a beautiful family. I think he has a beautiful wife, a beautiful queen, a black queen, and there's nothing better than a black woman in this world. That's just my opinion. We all entitled to our opinion, and
you either take advantage of it or you spend the rest of your career wondering what could have been. Lamont Roach had his shot. Now it's up to him to prove he deserves another.